So I've been to Israel many times. The whole country's a fortress. When I first heard this story, I still have the same gut instinct that I did initially. I find this very hard to believe. I've been to that Gaza border. You cannot go 10 feet without running into a 19-year-old with an AR-15 or an automatic machine gun that is an IDF soldier, right? The whole country is surveilled. And so let me just kind of go through this. We don't talk about Israeli politics very often, and most Americans don't know this. The last 9 months, Israel was on the brink of civil war. It's not an exaggeration. This judicial stuff, there were hundreds of thousands of Israelis taking to the streets because Bibi Netanyahu was basically redefining the Israeli constitution. That's not an exaggeration, right? He said the judicial branch has too much power. There were protests planned this week against Netanyahu, where they anticipated tens of thousands of people to take to the streets. That's all gone, Patrick. Netanyahu now has an emergency government and a mandate to lead. I'm not willing to go so far that saying that Netanyahu knew or there was intelligence here, but I think some questions need to be asked. Was there a stand down order?
Yeah, this is
Laura Loomer, that piece of shit, she goes, why don't you admit you're an anti-Semite? I don't think Charlie Kirk was an anti-Semite. He called it ethnic cleansing on Patrick Bet Value's show.
Called what ethnic cleansing?
Gaza.
Oh, right.
That's a big no-no. And then his funders were like, hey, what if you die? Who's going to take over? That's the first thing they say to you when you come in?
He also said, was there a stand down? Was there a stand down order? He talked about that on Patrick Bet David.
And guess what? If you watch Israeli news, there was. It's called the Hannibal Directive.
Go back to that, Jamie. What were you pulling up?
This is where Joe starts treating Kurt like, oh, here he goes again. Everything is Israel. And that's another one of Joe's slimy little defense mechanisms. Don't engage the pattern, just make the guy naming the pattern sound obsessive. Kurt keeps dragging things back to Israel because Israel keeps showing up in the same cluster of stories. War, lobbying, speech taboos, political pressure, media panic, Epstein, satanic pedophilia. Joe doesn't want to touch that, so he does what he always does. Make Kurt sound like the problem instead of the pattern Kurt is pointing at. A pattern which we, the blue and white collar folks, are all familiar with.
How could you not be allowed to have a perspective on something that's clearly horrific? Like, how could you not be allowed?
Because it doesn't help our team.
But was what she said, did she support Hamas in that paper,
No.
or did she just condemn Israel and their attacks?
I don't remember her ever supporting Hamas in the paper. I know she said Palestinians. No, but let's say she goes, hey, Hamas, let's say this was in the paper. She goes, you know who supported Hamas? Bibi Netanyahu, the prime minister of Israel for 20 years. You know how I gave up on Hamas in 2006?
Yeah.
Because I'm like, they're no good. Well, Bibi thought it was a good strategy to prop them up to fight the West Bank Palestinians so that they could never have a two-party state from that treaty that they agreed to but never intended to keep. So that's your fault, motherfucker. This girl supported Hamas? Not as much as the Prime Minister of Israel did she? With millions of your tax dollars that we send to them for their great game theory-based strategy.
This is one of the strongest Kurt sections in the whole video, because he's actually naming the thing Joe never once named cleanly. Greater Israel. Wars sold under fake branding. No war for oil, turning out to be bullshit. Charlie Kirk calling Gaza ethnic cleansing and instantly getting heat from his funders. It's obvious Gaza is part of a ritualistic sacrifice, and those who deny this are either stupid or in on the crime. That's the part Joe can never really follow to the end, because once you admit people get punished for saying ethnic cleansing Gaza, then the whole fake free speech act starts falling apart. Joe hears Kurt connecting war, funding, and donor pressure, and he still does that same stupid little half-curious, half-evasive routine. He doesn't shut Kurt down because Kurt's wrong. He softens it because Kurt is getting too close to how power actually works.
It's just interesting because, like, what can get you kicked out of a country that is the most pro-free speech country on planet Earth? Like, what gets you kicked out? Is it really
free speech?
Right. But is it only that one? Is it only that one? Like, what if you had an opinion on Ukraine and Russia? Would that get you kicked out?
I doubt it.
That's weird, right?
It certainly is.
That's kind of weird.
It's a little
Did you ever
strange, Joe.
Are you noticing?
Give me 2 more beers. I'll let you know. I'll let you know my algorithm's been feeding me.
You literally get paid to be a Democrat. Like if you're an actor or you're anything, the way you get not paid is not being a Democrat.
Do you see what's going on in France?
What happened now?
So this woman who was the head of the
Marie Le Pen getting arrested. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
She
they
should have
tried
made
to
a deal with Israel like Trump.
What happened with her? What would she lost some sort of a lawsuit. And
yeah, lawfare. They lawfared her out because she's getting popular because they're swarming immigrants. That plan's real. See, that's the thing. It's not just Democrats, it's NGOs.
But it's also the fact that you can do this with lawfare, not just in America, or attempted to do it in America. You know, I mean, it's essentially the same thing that happened to Trump. I just wonder if it'll have the same type of rebound. I guess she's appealing
They have no guns.
They have no guns.
They put a giant butt plug in the middle of Paris one time. And they made an article. Everybody was so crazy.
It's a beautiful piece of art.
They go, why is everybody so afraid of a Godzilla-sized butt plug?
Why are you worried about your anus?
Because
Relax.
I'm not worried about my anus. That wouldn't go in my anus. I want to know who you made that for and when they're going to be here.
USAID spent $2 trillion on that butt plug. It's kind of crazy because, you know, unless someone is outright calling for violence or revolution or to ignore the laws or ignore the rules, if they're just having an opinion on a gigantic international conflict,
Sure.
that seems crazy to want to kick them out of the country. Unless there's something more that I don't know.
Yeah, maybe she must have said something you would think pretty crazy, but I
Right.
bet you she didn't.
Yeah, she might
But
not.
we'll see. I bet it was a wild-ass statement. I would never waste a glass on a bong.
Shane, you haven't changed at all.
I wish I could, brother. It's time to change.
You don't want to change. I haven't changed.
Funny how the rest of the boys were silent for an awkward, long second here. They know what's up, but they would rather stick their hands in the sand than confront Joe as lightly.
You have not.
I don't think I have.
You
You're
can't
wild,
go.
very
You can't
little.
go out as much.
You did
Yeah,
change very
I
little.
get
You
a little
changed.
weird.
You changed. Yeah.
You
I get
changed in
weird.
unimportant ways. You're more into hunting,
Well,
but like it's not like
Archery.
It's different.
but that to me is like my way of staying sane. We've all had a rough past.
Well,
Couple
here's why
beheadings.
I forgive ISIS, because I don't approve of their anti-Semitic rhetoric, and you know that, and neither does my wife, Shoshana Rothman. But credit where credit is due. They have never attacked Israel. Al-Qaeda and ISIS, the two most anti-Semitic, mad about Israel terror groups, you'd think they would because it's right there before you come here. But no, they just attack us, which, when you think about it, makes no fucking sense as a plan, does it?
Not right now. I'll have to think about it later.
It never did. If you had told me, dude, after 9/11, and people were like, why are we going to Iraq? That doesn't really make any fucking sense at all. You know what I said? Shut up. That's all I said. You know, like, even though that's a great point, why did we go there?
Yeah, no reason. I used to have a bit about it.
And now Kurt enters. And right away, Joe does the same thing he always does with Kurt. I didn't see it. Of course you didn't, Joe. You never see anything when the topic is one of the wrong ones. Assassination talk, White House correspondence, political theater, and Joe's immediate posture is selective blindness. Kurt was the only one who could have me listen to this pod. That's what makes him so transparent now. He has a PhD in noticing bullshit when it's harmless, and a total mental blackout the second the story starts smelling too much like power.
Shane, don't you just read AI and just recognize the truth and stop being a conspiracy theorist?
I'm not conspiracy theorist. I'm thinking about the college football playoff, which has a lot of conspiracies.
Oh, really?
The Protestants formed against the Irish.
Oh, no.
They joined. All the Southern Protestants joined against the Catholics.
Wow.
Tale as old as time.
It's
And
IRA versus...
last time they tried to join against us, we marched down there and burned down their fucking cities. So watch out.
It's crazy because sports are like a substitute for war.
You'd think we'd have more presidents. The Catholics.
Yeah, they only had one.
Biden,
Right?
too.
Oh, Biden's Catholic.
We got Biden.
Allegedly.
True. We only got one. They got shot, and then Biden was doing auto sign. Give us a good one.
Yeah. You got anybody in mind?
Fuentes.
Nick Fuentes? He could probably win in a few years.
Hold on, let's talk.
Listen, he couldn't have existed before, right? 10, 20 years ago, couldn't have existed. Now, super popular. What's 20 years from now look like? You know, maybe someone like that can win.
Well, we'll see.
I got to pee so bad. We got to wrap this up anyway.
I'm
sorry,
down.
4:18.
And then the second this starts getting too uncomfortable, look what Joe does. He steers straight into AI jokes and conspiracy theorist banter. That's another one of his favorite tricks. He doesn't beat the point. He doesn't answer the point. Just like the good little Shabbos goy he is, He just changes the temperature in the room so nobody has to sit with what was actually being said. 1 minute it's Gaza and political punishment. Next minute it's recognize the truth with AI and college football conspiracies. Joe's very brave as long as the conversation stays stupid. Bro, just like your take on AI as Jesus, this bit has aged like milk. Have you been smoking the OG Kush with the satanic AI tech bros?
But then if they suspect you of it, like with Tucker was communicating with Putin's people to do an interview through Signal. So they took his encoded, so it's
the
all
drug app.
encrypted. They took his encrypted signal and they decrypted it. Someone who knows this stuff explained it to me, said it cost about $600,000 to do that. They said they can decrypt encrypted messages. They just have to get the data. So somehow or another they got the data off of his phone, they unencrypted it, and then they contacted him and said, we know that you're meeting with Putin. He's like, how the fuck do you know? They're like, we read your signal. And he's like, what? Like,
But he's like, yeah, I mean, I am meeting with him. I'm doing an interview.
Yeah.
I'm a journalist.
yeah, well, that was his position, but it was also his position that he's using an encrypted app. Like, they, unless they're suspecting him of a crime, they shouldn't be able to look at his encrypted messages. So, like, this idea that you know you're sending things on Signal and no one could read them, I think that's bullshit. I think it's more difficult to read them.
Well,
So local cops are not going to do it if you're just buying Molly.
Right.
That's not worth $600,000.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Didn't Hegseth's shit get leaked too on Signal? Remember that, like a year ago?
I think that was because those people accidentally included a journalist. So it was like a giant group of like 10 people or something like that, and one of them was a fucking journalist. These knuckleheads, and the journalists just released all the text
Now
messages. So they were
Joe's
sending
suddenly fascinated
emojis
by
after we bombed
surveillance.
Iran.
Signal getting cracked. Tucker's messages being read. The state seeing everything. Wow, amazing, Joe. You finally noticed the surveillance state exists. What bastard had to drag you into the real world to see the dystopian nightmare that is being pulled over our heads in real time? The funny part is, he'll follow this line when it's about Tucker and encryption, but not when the same theme starts pointing towards censorship, Israel, donor pressure, or the people who get protected no matter what. Joe is always most curious when the curiosity is politically safe. At this point, Joe is just a less funny, thinner, and more compromised dope fiend version of Alex Jones.
Try again, President Kumar, renewing calls for Tufts to adopt March 4th TCU Senate resolutions. University's response is Senate resolution wholly inadequate and dismissive of the Senate, the collective voice of the student body. Why, first of all, why would Tufts be doing anything about what's happening in Gaza, and what could they really do? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but yeah,
Like, what could they really do?
I don't know. They might stop it.
There was investments and divesting from companies and direct
Okay.
or indirect ties to Israel is what they were talking about.
Right. But the problem is, aren't those companies, Israel's not a communist dictatorship. So those companies that you're not going to invest in, they're just citizens of Israel. Like, you're citizens of America. You know what I mean? It's like there's a lot of people that were protesting Netanyahu before October 7th. It's like not everybody agrees with everybody. It's not like Israel's a monoculture that only has like one thing that they think. There's a lot of people over there that don't like their government. So like to ban their business and not use their like what?
Fuck if I know.
I don't know. What does that do? It puts pressure on them to vote differently, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a tough one.
No verified evidence shows Bill or Hillary Clinton personally profited or received salaries from Haiti-related activities through the Clinton Foundation.
The foundation raised around 30 to 500 million. What?
For Haiti post-2010 earthquake, directing funds to aid groups, investments, and projects like hotels and factories without taking administrative overhead.
You get 500 million, you go fucking. They're not gonna notice 15.
And here we go again. This is classic Joe Rogan cowardice. The topic is Gaza, campus backlash, and whether speech against Israel gets punished. And Joe's first instinct is not to follow the moral issue. It's to shrink it into some boring little technical question like, well, what could Tufts really do? That's the move. Great move, Joe. Fallen from the light you once held so dear. Take something bloody and obvious, turn it into your old and regular admin talk, and then hide behind, well, not every Israeli supported Netanyahu. Bro, you have had too much of the Kool-Aid. Like, for real, have all those years of drug use finally caught up to you? Yeah, no shit, Joe. That's not the point. The point is that when the subject is Gaza, your brain immediately starts looking for exits. Just like you does now, with covering for the must I say, obvious satanic elite that is ruling over us.
They make a 911. It has, you can get it with no fucking AC, no nothing. It only weighs
You made a
2,000 pounds. Dancing
Count it.
Jews.
Nice.
Count
I
it.
knew about it on 910.
Dancing Israelis.
They're not in the
Don't Google
building.
Don't Google dancing Israelis, whatever you do. Don't read into that story. You'll go, hey, what?
Wait a second.
Steel doesn't melt.
APEC.
This part is such a Joe moment. They joke about 9/11, then somebody drops dancing Israelis, and instantly the energy becomes, haha, don't Google that, don't read into it, don't go there. And that's exactly how Joe handles elite filth now. He loves spooky references, he loves vague, naughty little hints. But the second a thread might lead to an actual hard conclusion, Joe's instinct is to turn it into a bit and move on. He wants conspiracy as seasoning, never as a straight line.
He's not
Suicide
alive.
note, purportedly written by Jeffrey Epstein weeks before his death in jail, has been kept secret for years, locked up in a courthouse. That means investigators scrutinizing his death lacked what could have been a key piece of evidence.
In the last hour, they're saying there's a note they found that's just
There's a brand new note
yeah,
for
just all of a sudden exists. No one's just they haven't shown it or said what it says. They're just everyone's not reporting.
Well, how about the
There's a
fucking
note.
autopsy that says that his prostate was unremarkable, but meanwhile he had his prostate removed?
Oh boy.
There's a lot of people that don't even believe he died.
I think he's alive. I think they
might
just
be.
face-offed him, and he's living a good life somewhere.
You just think it changed him.
Yeah, I think that all the people that all go to that stuff, they're like, don't worry. If we kill you, then we're all worried about ourselves. We're just going to relocate you.
Israel.
Israel, maybe.
That's what I heard from Metzger.
From Metzger. It wouldn't be Israel. He'd live somewhere like...
Why wouldn't he live in Israel? That's the place where he's most protected.
It'd be like Cambodia.
No, they'll kill him in Cambodia. You got to live in Israel.
No, there's parents in Israel.
Of who?
People.
Yeah, but you know that's like the number one place where like sex offenders go from America that are Jewish,
Really?
that are in
yeah.
trouble. Yeah,
They
Whoa.
they go to
take
Israel.
anybody in.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
They take anybody in.
yeah,
who's Jewish.
especially Jewish people. They'll just take you
yeah.
in.
Well, there is a
You don't
reason.
know how dumb people are until you have a dumb president.
Oh, well, I think he was a Manchurian candidate. And the reason we went there is a thing called the Greater Israel Project. So when you see Wesley Clark talking about the map,
Yeah.
remember they said no war for oil? We didn't get no oil out of that. In fact, most oil companies said don't do it, except Halliburton, the oil company that got favoritism.
Did you ever see Coleman Hughes' take on that? It's very interesting.
I don't trust that motherfucker no more.
Well, Trump almost got a shot the other day.
Isn't that crazy?
What
Crazy.
happened?
That's the third assassination attempt on that dude.
The fucking guy ran.
You didn't see
First of all,
this?
I
you
just,
didn't-
Bobby
you don't know
kind of
about
mentioned
the
in passing.
assassination attempt?
Not
it was
really.
at the White House press correspondence dinner.
Where Reagan got shot.
Was it
He got
Michelle
shot
Wolf?
at that?
Same hotel.
Oh, really?
Oh, wow,
So that
hotel.
must the TripAdvisor must be rough on
At
that
the
one.
correspondence dinner. Was there a comedian there?
No, it was,
Oz the
it was-
Mentalist.
It was the mentalist. Yeah.
Oz the Mentalist
You
was
think
the
he would have
host.
saw it coming?
You think?
He probably kept his mouth shut. He's like, I think we're going to go attack 2 more Arab countries.
You know what's hilarious? Metzger goes, "Did you see the fake assassination attempt? Don't you know?
Don't you know about Gilgamesh? And you're like, what? He always brings in his references.
The
You're like,
Rothschilds.
bro,
You don't
what
know?
are you saying? I don't know
you don't
any of the
know?
references.
Oh, you don't know?
If Metzger can't get it up, he's like, Israel.
yeah.
Everything's Israel.
The bone hurts.
And this transition tells you everything about Joe's brain now. The serious segment wraps the second it starts getting loaded, and then we jump into Protect Our Parks, where suddenly the vibe is loose, drunk, and unserious again. Although, to be fair to Joe, he does seem a bit more loose and chill here than in his recent episodes, especially the Theo Von episode from a couple months ago, where Joe felt like he was covering for the satanic Sha Bam Bam. That's perfect for Joe. The man loves dangerous subjects, right up until they threaten to become clear. Then he would much rather have a room full of comics laughing over the top of it than one guest pinning him down with an actual moral point.
There's so many people.
Yo.
If you're on Social Security, you're getting a very small amount of money. You're on a very fixed income.
That you're owed.
And if you miss a month, that's a big fucking deal, man.
Yeah.
And you're old, and you don't need that kind of stress in your life. You know, if you're old as fuck, and then all of a sudden your Social Security stops, that's fucking terrifying.
Well, you know what the plan is by these prick oligarchs? What they want is, so first Doge, so just everybody freaking out about Doge, and which you're such a, like, uninformed. Doge is not going to be anything. I got news for everybody. Ask Thomas Mazzi. That guy's who's right. That continuing resolution means everything got funded again until the next time when they're going to do another continuing resolution, because they said last time this is going to be, this is what Massey explains. So everything's funded plus another $6 billion for the Pentagon. So people are freaking out, but there's nothing cut But you know what I bet they are going to get to? Your entitlements.
Wait a minute.
They'll make sure to cut that.
But they have
not
cut-
Ukraine, not Israel. Oh, God forbid. Or
Well, they haven't
Taiwan,
even
yeah.
started with military. So, but just right now, like the USAID stuff, right? If they definitely have cut a lot.
That's discretionary, so that just means the money's still in the budget, but I don't know, it'll go all to Israel. I have no idea what it means. It's discretionary. It's
Wait
discretionary.
a minute. So that means the programs are cut, but the money is still allocated somewhere else?
It's still up there in the blob going to whatever. Do you think they really made a Guatemalan gender non-binary musical? No, they didn't. Somebody bought a gun or something. That's what happened.
Of course.
So
Right.
literally no change. And people,
Wasn't it genius, though, to call it USAID? Because you have to be for it.
well,
It's like Patriot Act.
I think this part should be the crime because it's USA ID, not
Right.
US. But they color the A the same color as the I and the D.
Do they?
Yeah, so you think it's
that's
USA.
so dirty.
But I didn't know.
Is that really how they do it?
Yeah, US.
Oh.
So see the deception on purpose with that.
And this is the real ending note of the whole video. Kurt sounds like the crazy one, but he's the only guy in the room still willing to name oligarchs, donor pressure, Israel, satanic pedophile elite, and the way public panic gets managed by the tech bros. Joe, meanwhile, keeps doing what Joe does now. Nod a little, joke a little, stall a little. Never follow anything all the way to the conclusion. That's why the title works. The Vindication of Kurt Metzger. Not because every word Kurt says is polished, but because Joe's whole fake confused act has aged worse than Kurt's paranoia. Kurt says too much. Joe says too little. And when the dust settles, the guy who sounded unhinged ends up looking a whole lot more honest than the guy who kept pretending not to notice.